because we are more and more going to a hygienic environment.
So 20 to 30% of the volume, yeah?
Yes. Have a look
Okay.
at the Japanese. The Japanese will give you a good idea of what will happen in Europe 10 years later, or in the United States 10 years later. They are the most fussy, hygienic freaks in the world, and sometimes with good reason. So whatever they do, 10 years later will happen in Europe. So have a look in Japan to see how they react on the safety level. And if they go on board on this topic, Europe will follow 10 years later. And
Perfect.
same thing for the United States.
Very last topic, sorry to rush us again. Nemera. So you've looked at their product. I think you said you evaluated them. What was what's your perception of them or their offering in that space?
I was not surprised. It's a basic copy-paste. It even contains potential risks, being that they are not fully informed about the drawbacks that the product might give. Plastic components can behave very strangely over time, and also when combined with other plastic components from different raw materials. So they do their utmost best to develop the product. They did a copy paste, which looks fine from the front of the product. But the important portion of it is to see how it will behave over time when it has stayed for several months in the box, and also how it will stand when you need to do mass production. When you do small production, it's pretty easy. But when you do mass production, especially these components can have some parts that erupt from the initial mold. So, and these can block the good functioning of the system, or they can be too narrow or too expanded, depending on what it is. So they will not run well on each other. And these has not been fully, basically acknowledged by some players on the market, out of which Nemera. And it's normal. It's not a big secret. It's that they are starting up a new product. They have no learning curve yet, so they will do catastrophe at the start. You need to accept that. It will be a catastrophe startup, for sure.
Got it. What else?
What else? What they did not...
I think you mentioned they were expensive, I believe, in your notes.
Yes, because of course they need to start from scratch at much lower volume. So what they do is they have also their subcontractors they need to contract with, and if you go there with 10,000 pieces or 1 million, you get a completely different price. If your machine is running 24 hours a day or it's running only from time to time 1 week, obviously they have more expensive components. It's inevitable. But nevertheless, if you are a client pharmaceutical company, you should support them in such a way that if you do not have competition on the market, you need to create it and support creation. So as a pharmaceutical client, your power that you have is you can create competition. And by creating competition, I mean that what can you give free of charge, which does not cost you anything, is actually long-term contracts. These people, if you want to develop them, you need to give them long-term contracts. And once that you give them long-term contracts, they feel comfortable. But you need to protect yourself against the quality and the lousy quality that will come out. Any startup of new products will generate issues, problems, quality issues. So you need to be aware of that, and you need to make sure that your quality people are aware of that. That's not a big problem. If you have problems of quality, the problem is that you cannot manage it and you cannot foresee it. So as soon as you have, together with your quality people, say, listen, this is a new startup, obviously, clearly, you will have quality issues. The problem is not how we can avoid them. No, the problem is how we can solve them as quickly as possible. So you need to make sure that in your contractual relationship with the supplier relationship management, you clearly define if a problem occurs on quality, how do we behave?
No,
how do you pay us back?
I get it. Anything else on that company? I mean, when you step back and you look at that space for the safety syringe, right? I'm trying to understand, right? So it's a small, maybe growing market. You're saying that they're a startup in the space. We have an 800-pound gorilla called BD. Do you think that they have a potential to